Hey YouTube, this is Juan. I'm back. Alright, so I talked about the last thing I left off was ending up with a 3.2 my freshman year. And this was because on my second semester I got a 3.6 GPA. It managed to make the dean's list. Again, with the help of amphetamines. Um, and this was going out every night, drinking a lot. It's part of an internship program. I was part of Model United Nations. Um, I was the irony. I was the treasurer of Model United Nations. Um, I was very involved in international relations groups. I was also involved in the Latino Student Association. I was in a lot of stuff. I was partying real hard. I was sleeping probably 4 or 5 hours a night every day. Um, all right. Then the summer after my freshman year, that was summer of 2011, I was starting to have a break of conscience. Sort of, just a tiny bit. And I also developed a black mark over my eye. Like a just odd, like skin pigmentation. Um, Specifically over my right eyelid. It almost felt like a punishment from God, and doctors couldn't diagnose the cause. I was very vain at the time, and it was the cause of a lot of torment. The summer of 2011, as I said, I was having a small breakthrough. I started flushing the prescription pills. Well, I didn't really flush them during the summer, but I was starting to get off the amphetamines. Thank God. I may have, and then, all right. That summer also, I had a car crash while I was driving drunk back from a club, and I had prayed, sort of prayed to God that day that I needed an event, something big for me to happen, for me to stop living the way I was living. So my car crashed. Boom. Pretty much almost a total loss. It was terrible. By the way, my parents weren't in the best financial situation at the time while this was going on. So that's just something to say there. My previously, we're not really close friends anymore. We call him Jack. My previously friend Jack left Georgia College State University at the end of freshman year. We've changed. We've really drifted apart since then. But anyways, when I returned to school my sophomore year, it's after the summer, in August 2011, that's when I really started flushing the pills, not looking back. I was really addicted to these amphetamines. I started really, really barely just starting to ask life's bigger questions. I contemplated reality and what it seemed to be an odd living dream I had lived in recently. The clubs, the bars, the women, and even the friendships had been vain, fruitless, and empty. Now, friendship isn't fruitless, but the friendships I had looked for were definitely fruitless. I was still misguided and confused, but I started to slowly realize success in the traditional mainstream way was not going to cut it. Well, I think at least the beginning thoughts loomed around. By the way, I'd spent my summer in Miami because remember, my family had moved from Georgia. When I came back, I had told everyone how crazy the city was. I had worked a good part of the summer and spent the nights in clubs, beaches, and boardwalks. This was when the car crash happened in the summer. I initially had trouble getting used to not having the high I had from prescription medication. I ran a lot in the mornings to recuperate the loss of dopamine or whatever neurotransmitter is increased through amphetamines. The first months of my first semester of sophomore year were pretty odd. I was confused about my major. I was thinking about nursing school. The point that I was thinking about becoming a nurse, I guess the change hadn't really been there yet. You know, Jennifer still went to school that year, and I remember my friend we'll call him Maxwell. Maxwell saying she looked fucked up physically. And those were his choice of words, not mine. He also said a couple of the other girls we used to know looked a bit rough around the edges. And I kind of disagreed. I met Maxwell my freshman year, second semester. I can't say I was a good influence in his life, and unfortunately to say, he's hooked on amphetamines to this day. And he was when I became friends with him, he was in a very troubled emotional time. Also, that kid Maxwell that hung out with me, my second semester of freshman year when I was doing amphetamines. Later, I found out when he left school his sophomore year, I found out he had started making pentagrams, and he had carved into his dorm or apartment bathroom pentagrams worshiping Satan. I wish I was making this up. I found that out my second semester of my sophomore year. But it's crazy, right? Anyways, that I just wanted to put that tie in because I didn't write that down, and I didn't want to forget that. Just checking the time here real quick. Make sure I don't run out of time on the video. Okay, back to my first semester of sophomore year though. Something happened that would change my life forever. Something I will never forget. I'm pretty sure it was the first semester of my sophomore year. It could have been second, but I'm banking on first. I went to the library at the beginning of the semester, and I saw Jennifer. She looked like she had lost a ton of weight. I saw her only from her back, sitting down, her hair flowing over her tight shirt. She had a really tiny backpack and really short squared shorts. She was using one of the library computers. I sat diagonally from her. When she noticed me, she tilted towards me. I can't remember if she said hi or not, because when I turned to make eye contact, I saw the most horrible thing I'd ever seen. When we made eye contact, her visage, I can't remember, her face became completely distorted. It became completely skewed, and then back to normal a second later. I can only relate the experience to when a person sees a demon on a movie. It was horrible. It was beyond afraid. I was left speechless when I saw this. I still come to terms with just haven't seen that in my haven't seen that was years ago. But yeah, her face just completely became twisted and then back again in seconds. When I looked in her eyes, I felt like true sense of fear and just darkness come over me. It was horrible. Either way, after that I went to the dorms. I had no idea what had happened. At the time I really didn't know Christ. I didn't know the Bible. I didn't know anything. I didn't even understand what I saw because it didn't make sense in my frame of reality at the time. Alright, I'll cut that and then I'm going to come to a conclusion right now because I'm running out of time.